My crazy here. Okay, so welcome, wonderful people. Okay. Well, no one's here right now, but for the people watching this video, I literally just woke up. There's all kind of crustiness all over me. I literally just woke up. I took the nap of a century. I was supposed to do work all day on this Saturday because I have so many things to do because I'm going up for tenure. October 1st, I discovered, I thought it was October 15th, but it's October 1st. So I got to get all my material together faster than I thought I did. I'm already kind of behind schedule. And I'm trying to work and get it all done. And then my brain just went poop and I had to take a nap. But thank God, because I've been doing all this work, all this social emotional work on myself. And it's a gift. It's a real gift because so many things keep falling away and letting go. In fact, I even came up with we've even been really employing the phrase, love is letting go. Like the love itself is letting go. Like, you know, they say God is love, right? God is love, God, love, higher power, it's all the same thing. So God is love and love is letting go. Love is not holding on. Love is accepting things for what they are as they are. So love is letting go. So if God is love and love is letting go, then God is letting go. God is letting go. We increase our connection to God by the higher power of your choice, or our ability to love by getting better and better at letting go. Letting go itself is the key to getting better at love, not holding on. Okay, that's what I came to see recently myself. And so that has just been blowing my mind open in a variety of ways. And welcome. I'm just kind of going on about what my day was like today and the insights I've been having. So feel free to tell me how you're feeling anytime you log into class or come to this class. Feel free to tell me how you're doing today, how things are feeling, how you're feeling today, how you're managing and coping with things. This class is all about being a real accepting space to discuss whatever you're feeling. I just woke up from a nap. I just woke up from a really intense nap because I was doing all this work. I've been doing all this work. I basically have to work nonstop until October 1st because I'm going up for tenure. Well, you know what? I don't have to work nonstop. I'm choosing to. That's the truth of that. And I'm going to do the best that I can. That's all we can do, is the best that we can. Yeah. Well, so I came to the conclusion as I was working through this nap just now and the last couple of days, came to the conclusion that love is letting go. Love is letting go. And we're going to end up talking about a lot of that today, because today's class is about grief. And I'm going to explain what the class is in a little bit. I'll just see if I'll wait a couple of minutes to see if anyone else shows up before we get started. We're going to talk a lot about grief today, and a lot of us just never had a conversation about grief, especially if you grew up in an environment where you never even had a conversation about feelings. Grief might have missed grief from the emotional toolbox. And it's really important, especially on today, because so many people are even dealing with real major feelings around grief, around the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for example, or your feelings about the death of our democracy, for example. So today's going to be a real good day for dealing with those feelings. Actually, we might as well go ahead and get started, because I'm a big fan of being here, being a ride or die person for the people who show up on time. Okay. So welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being a part of this experience and for prioritizing your feelings. Okay. Feelings are so hard. They're so hard. So my name is Dr. Donny. Let me explain who I am. I'm a sociology professor at CSU East Bay, who is going up for tenure in 1 month, or actually 10 days, 10 days. My research looks at I teach classes in race, class, gender, sexuality, all those kind of wonderful things. And then my research also looks at age inequality against young people, or what's called adultism. And through that research, I ended up getting involved in what's called social emotional learning, which is all about getting in touch with your thoughts and feelings. I am also, because of this, going back to school full time to become a high school counselor. So that was sort of like the first big dream I had in life. I wanted to be a high school counselor so I could be there for people in ways that no one was there for me as a younger person. So I'm going back to school full time as well. So it's a busy time. And I am also healing full time from my own life circumstances, childhood trauma, stuff that happened to me. Yeah. And on top of all of that wonderful stuff, I am the author of The Book of You. So let me show you what that is. Let me show you what that is right here. The Book of You, The Book of You. The Book of You is a workbook for getting your thoughts and feelings together. Over the course of 2 years, I have put together several worksheets, about 17 or so, into this workbook that all my classes, all my social emotional material is coming from. So I teach 2 classes for the public. One is called Emotions for Dummies, and the other is called Advanced Emotions for Dummies. Emotions for Dummies is a basic course that's designed to take us from, well, I guess you could say it's an intensive course, but I don't want to use that word intensive because that might scare people. But it's a course that's designed to take you from what's a feeling, week 1, to week 4, I have a feeling, I don't like it, but I absolutely know what to do and I can handle this. Okay, and that's not easy to do in a week. So there's a lot of, that's not easy to do in 4 weeks. So I teach a lot of skills in that workshop. So that's every other month, there's that series, the Emotions for Dummies series. And then every other month, I teach the advanced course, which is a series of advanced exercises. So I'll show you the table of contents so I can explain what I mean. But first and foremost, let me get you the link to this workbook. So that way you can take a look at this for yourself. Okay, please share this workbook with other people. Please access it often. Please access it often. Please share it with other people. Feelings are just so hard. Feelings are just so hard. Feelings are so hard. So it's just so important for us to have as much resources as possible for teaching people how to deal with their feelings. And that's why I put this whole thing together, is to help people with that, because it's so difficult. And even I can tell you, having run through all these exercises over and over and over and over again for now, 3 years, I'm so thankful I have all these tools. They work. They really work. They really work. It was still so hard. It is still so hard to feel through all your feelings. Okay, all of us have a whole treasure trove of feelings that we just do not want to feel because they don't feel good. And so many of us will run from those feelings like the plague instead of actually sitting with them, confronting them, or maybe not, I shouldn't say confronting them, sitting with them, loving them, making peace with them, those sorts of things. So this is all about learning how to do that in a real step-by-step, baby step fashion, because it's just not easy, okay? So let me show you the table of contents. So it's divided into 2 sections, as you can see. There's part 1, discovering emotions and questioning beliefs, and part 2, inner child work, relationship work. Okay, so the Emotions for Dummies class is all built on part 1, where we go through not all of these, but most of them. And you learn how to meditate, tell yourself the truth, the emotions list, the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, healing from trauma, self-love, meditating on emotions, how to let go. Oh, meditating on emotions and the body scan. And then our final class, we do what's called the ego killer exercise, where we put all those things together. Okay. In the advanced class, we move even deeper into inner child work. We move from feelings to inner child work, where we focus on what I call inner baby work or self-soothing exercises, childhood emotional abuse and neglect, inner child work, which we have several exercises for inner child work. Inner child work was last week. That was last week's. We spent the whole 2 hours going through various exercises for getting in touch with our inner child. Okay, which is another way of saying we work through our feelings of shame and guilt. So that's what inner child work really is. And this week, we are running through grief and recovery. We're going to learn how to grieve today. That's what today's all about. And then there's one more class on deconstructing beliefs and story-based strategy. Okay. Okay, so please share this material with people. You know, if you got any benefit out of this at some point, at any point, if you really enjoyed this work and you're really thankful for all the stuff I'm doing, feel free to donate. There's a donate link right here as well. I'm gonna put a Venmo up here as well. Feel free to donate. Feel free to print it out and feel free to donate to further this cause. The more I can get this in the hands of people, the more I can teach these classes, the more I can offer what I offer. Okay. Okay, so today we are looking at grief. So before we get started, let me just ask again, wonderful people who might be here, but feel free to tell me how you're feeling today. Either type it in or text or speak, or, you know, if you have any feelings at all, just let me know how you're feeling. If you need help with the feeling, well, close your eyes and just put it in your own words. Or if you need some help, there's even a list of emotions on page 9 you can go to. Let's see. They're all sideways, unfortunately. You might have to move to the side here, but, you know, if any feelings at all come up for you that you'd like to describe how you're feeling today, just let me know. I'm going to just give you a couple of minutes because I don't want to just plunge into all this grief stuff. I want to kind of settle in a little nicer than this. So just if any feelings come up for you, just let me know. Type them in, speak them out loud. You know, if you're dealing with something, anything, just it's going to give a nice minute or two. Just a respectful minute or two for you to feel your feelings in this new environment. You know, I didn't explain, but there's 2 pages of emotions, or one page here is what we would call the negative emotions. And the other page is all the positive emotions, just so you know. You might be feeling a mix of both emotions. Happy and energetic earlier, now tired after half a day kayaking. Ooh, well, right on. Right on. Happy, energetic, tired. That's a full day. It's a full day of feeling. Oh, great. That is great. Okay, so these I don't want to bum you out with these sad feelings about grieving. And hopefully this doesn't bum you out. You know what? If you really dig into grieving well enough, you might even find the beauty in it. We'll see if we can even find that today. The peace and the beauty and the happiness. There may even be an energeticness to grieving for all we know. Well, let's see. So let's turn to page 45. And so what I always say is, if you would like to read along, you are more than welcome to, because that's some people, that's how they learn. That's their learning style. But if you do not feel like reading along, you had a long day, you would much rather lay down in bed and just hear the sound of my voice, or you would rather read this later, you are more than welcome to do whatever you need to do to make yourself comfortable. You got access to this workbook, so you don't need to read this right now. You can just focus on your feelings. Focus on your feelings. Focus on your feelings. And then you can just listen to these words and then let them bypass the brain and go into your heart. Bypass the brain and go into your heart. Okay, so this comes from the book, The Grief Recovery Handbook by John James and Russell Friedman, which is a really relatively, short book that just explained how to grieve. And it was amazing how I'd never heard of this book before. Grief is the conflicting feelings caused by the end of or change in a familiar pattern of behavior. Okay, so first and foremost, that might be a definition of grief you did not expect to hear. So I'll just say it again. Grief is the conflicting feelings caused by the end of or change in a familiar pattern of behavior. While it is the most normal and natural thing to feel grief after a loss of any kind, it is also the most neglected and misunderstood experience, often by both grievers and those around them. This is because we are taught how to acquire things, but not taught what to do when we lose them. All sorts of experiences come with conflicting feelings. Sure, death, but also divorce, moving, starting school, marriage, holidays, financial gains and losses. Also, we could include the loss of an identity, loss of trust, loss of control, and loss of safety. And the loss of your political ideals, the loss of your heroes, the loss of, the people who you look up to. And most of us are taught that grief happens in an orderly set of stages that look like this. This is what's called the Kubler-Ross Model, where we move through one stage at a time through shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, and acceptance. Shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, and acceptance. And we just move one step, one by one through all of them. Okay, however, research has shown that people are often not in denial or get angry while grieving. What they do often report is reduced concentration, a sense of numbness, disrupted sleep patterns, changed energy habits, and a roller coaster of emotional energy. This has led to the conclusion that there are no stages of grief. Boom, boom, boom. All relationships are unique, so every grief process is unique. Or drawn out, it really looks like this. Okay, so as you can see, there's stages of grief, and it says loss hurt to loss adjustment. So that's what grief is. It's all about the initial impact, the hurt, moving from hurt to adjusting to what you lost, okay? And you can move through all these feelings: shock, numbness, denial, emotional outbursts, searching, disorganization, panic, loneliness, and moving into re-entry problems, new relationships, new strengths, new patterns, helping others, okay? Okay, that's the stages, and this is this person's experience. As you can see, this person is literally moving, weaving everywhere, every which way between these two two poles here, right? You can be in shock one day, have hope another day, an emotional outburst the next day, find a new relationship the next day, fear and searching the next day, and you help someone else that makes you feel better. Then the feeling better makes you feel disorganized. Okay, you can be all over the map with this. And since this book said there are no stages of grief and every relationship is unique, I mean, every grief process is unique, then that means, I mean, every relationship you have, you may know a million people in your lifetime, and so every grief process for every one of those people can look different. Okay. Okay, so that means this opens up a whole trove of things, of feelings, right? A whole trove of feelings that we might be repressing to help us deal with whatever we're going through, right? Many of us only focus on grief when it's about like death. Like today's going to be a great day for grief because Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. But many of us only focus on grief when death happens. As you can see from this, grief happens constantly. The moment your friendship changes, you have a grief process. The moment your job's just not what you thought it was, it's a grief process. Constantly dealing with road rage. There's a grief process that is needed to move through those feelings. Okay. So I just love this because it really validates every single thing you've ever felt in your life. Okay. If you thought you were crazy, you ever felt like you were going crazy because you were having a difficult time with your feelings, well, this validates everything you're feeling really well. Grief is about a broken heart, not a broken brain. It's about dealing with feelings, not intellectual rationalizations. So often when people are grieving, we say something like, don't feel bad, it'll be better next time. These statements are intellectually true, but emotionally bankrupt. In fact, our society teaches us 6 unhealthy things about grieving. Don't feel bad, replace the loss, grieve alone, go be by yourself with your unpleasant feelings, give it time, be strong for others, just keep busy, well, be strong for others and just keep busy. All of these ideas teach us to avoid and hide our true feelings, leaving us feeling unheard, invalidated, even judged and criticized. Also, you may notice a couple of these might be your main go-tos, right? I had a friend whose dog died, and his plan was just to buy a new dog as soon as possible. Some people, being strong for others is their main coping mechanism. Grieve alone is really my thing. I'm big on social isolation. Consequently, many grievers opt to just be left alone, or they learn how to fake it in recovery by pretending to be fine and put on a happy face. Additionally, the pain of unresolved grief is cumulative, so any future losses can trigger past hurtful experiences. A lifetime of unresolved grief can be absolutely debilitating. Okay. Future losses can re-trigger past experiences. This is so true. Your parents die, and then everything you went through with your parents comes back up, right? Like my cat's right here. The cat dies, and then everything, like your initial motivations for getting the cat, all the hurt, pain, and fear, the loneliness you might have been feeling 12 years ago might come right back up. Okay, some childhood wound could come right back up. Recovery happens through a series of small and correct choices we make about our thoughts and feelings. It means acknowledging that everything you are feeling is important and perfectly understandable, and that this is part of what it takes to claim your life back. Often it means developing skills we should have learned in childhood. Recovery can happen at any time when the griever is ready to talk about and review what happened. It does not happen if you just give it time, and there is no loss that a person cannot recover from. We would never tell a person who broke their leg to just give it time. The same goes for emotional pain. Okay. We must accept that while help can come from others, or we can pay someone $150 an hour, only we will know how we truly feel. So one, start with acknowledging that all grieving is about wishing for something different, better, or more. It's fighting an acceptance of what is over what you want. You can use the How to Let Go exercise to help your ego deal with the loss. 2, only you are responsible for your feelings. We often say, you made me angry. But in reality, things happen and we choose how we respond. Like, I reacted to what you said with anger. We may absolutely not be responsible for the past, but we must take responsibility for how we react currently if we want to take our power back and heal. And 3, think about doing grieving work with someone you can trust. You can do it alone, but since social isolation is such a big issue in grieving, it can help to reach out to friends and people you trust. Also, focus on you addressing your feelings, not reaching out to those who hurt you. They may not or may never be in a place to grieve, and it's their business. If it happens, it will happen for them in their way, on their time. That's all easier said than done, of course. If you have a friend who needs to grieve also and then they don't do it, that's easier said than done. Number 4, go back to that list of 6 bad social beliefs about grief and see which ones you have believed in and question them. All responses to grief are normal and natural, no matter how wrong or crazy. In fact, crazy behavior is a good time to question how someone is grieving. Okay, all responses to grief are normal or natural. Losing it all the time, crying constantly, being in denial about it, getting angry all the time, all of those things are normal, natural responses to grief. And 5, finally, acknowledge that people all mean well when they attempt to offer help to others. All of these 6 bad social beliefs can be heard as a kind way to offer healthy sympathy for people's pain. So instead of that, you could say, instead of saying don't feel bad, you could say, your pain is so strong, please also take notice of the positive things in your life. That's really what don't feel bad means, right? But explaining it the second way offers more validation for what we're feeling, okay? 2, replace the loss. Instead of saying replace the loss, you could say, losing something hurts so much. If you get something that fills the hole, it will help with slowly working through the pain. Okay? That puts a plan instead of a coping mechanism. Grieve alone instead of grieve alone. It can hurt so much to discuss these feelings that you may want to prioritize taking time for yourself so you are not stuck in a triggering story. Okay. And instead of just give it time, you can say the suddenness of things makes everything hard to deal with. We all need time to process our feelings. Okay, so you can see how all I wrote all these because several people, it's very normal to for people to say things like just give it time, and they mean well. So I wanted to reorient those statements toward more validation of feelings instead of sort of surmising the experience of grief. Okay, so this is all about validating your feelings. Your pain is so strong. Please also take notice of the positive things in your life. When I was in pain, when I am in pain, I would love it if somebody said that to me, instead of saying, don't feel bad. That doesn't feel good at all. Don't feel bad. That sounds like an order. But if someone said, your pain is so strong, please also take notice of the positive things in your life. I would hear that and I would think, oh, this person wants me to have balance. This person actually does understand how much pain I'm in. He understands the focus I had. He understands not only the focus I had on my pain, but also is looking out for my long-term best interest by mentioning the positive things, by telling me to also notice the positive. Okay, that's just a total different world. That's just a totally different statement. The person who says this, the second statement to me, I'm going to give them the biggest hug on planet Earth. Okay, that makes me feel so much more validated. Okay, so the following exercise will help you learn your own processes of grieving. The following exercise will help you learn your own processes of grieving. We will write out our life history, focus on a particular relationship, find statements that we need to apologize or forgive, and write a grief letter. Okay, so we're going to do this one step at a time. So I'm not going to just explain all the instructions. We're going to walk through it one step at a time. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm gonna do this. It's kind of funny because prior to Ruth Bader RBG passing away, I was kind of gonna like let whoever showed up today, I was gonna let them do this, and I was gonna kind of just like lean back, because I keep saying I'm gonna have a day when I finally do these exercises and I can just lean back. If you go watch any of the videos of me doing this, you know how much I've cried up my feelings. Okay, I am the real deal here. I'm the real deal here. Who else could it be? That's right. So I'm going to do the real deal myself here. I am feeling a lot of positive feelings about RGB passing away, to be quite honest with you. I feel like she was old and she did her work. She's an incredible inspiration. And so I'm okay when people like that die, because you earned it. You earned death. But there are some feelings around. I saw how afraid everyone is around what's going to happen with the future. And literally yesterday, I was watching a documentary with Noam Chomsky, and I said, wow, Chomsky's been looking old for a long time now. He's probably going to die soon. And then I had a moment, and then I was like, oh, it's okay. He's earned it. He's good. And then an hour later, I found out RGB died. So I'm going to work on all these feelings about my elders, the elders I respect dying. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab this notebook. Okay. I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to pick, just so you know. This will make more sense in 1 second, just so you know. Step one, this is not about RBG or anything. Let me just say this first. Step one is going to be writing out your loss history graph, the losses you've incurred in your life. It's all about you, getting in touch with that. That's what we're going to do first. Then we move into a particular relationship where I'm going to focus on RBG or Chomsky. So let's get that second, okay? Let's focus just on this first, because this is going to be emotionally hard enough. Okay, so using this line below, illustrate every loss you ever had in your life. The example here has years and events, but you can just use your age. Like, for example, you could write age 16 came out of the closet. That would be mine. That would be my example. Start with the year of your birth, or age 0, or your first earliest memory, and then everything up until today. If you don't have that kind of time, or you've done this before, just focus on a part of your life. Take care of yourself. This can be triggering. Okay, so I'm probably gonna give you a nice 20 minutes to just write out this loss history graph. I'm gonna write mine out. I haven't written mine out in a while. And then I'm gonna talk while I write it. Okay, so you can hear some wise stuff while I'm writing it. And yeah. And then about, let's say 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we'll move on to part 2. Okay. Grief is so important. Okay, so whatever feelings you got coming up about even doing this, honor those feelings. Okay, I'm noticing that I have one person here who was here, And then I noticed he's gone now. He's gone. Okay. So I get the impression he was tired. He spent half a day kayaking and he was happy. And then he heard grief. He heard the word grief. And something in him went, oh no, that's a sad thing. I know I'm not feeling that. And he probably left. And I could not begin to tell you how common that is. As someone who is someone who focuses on feelings, I've had so many people, the moment they have to deal with the feeling they don't like, uncomfortable, they don't just get slightly unnerved. They get like majorly, and then like deer in headlights and then gotta run. Okay. I've had so many, even people who are in my classes, you know, trust me completely, come to see me during office hours, telling me, open up to me about their feelings and everything, start crying and everything. I'm giving them a hug. And then I'll say, well, it looks like you're feeling blank. Would you like to sit and process, grief? So would you like to sit and process your feelings of grief? Just take a moment and sit with the feeling of grief itself. I gotta go, my car, I gotta go. I've had that happen to me several times from other people, okay? So what it's really taught me is people will do whatever it takes to protect themselves. That's what it's taught me. People's feelings are very sensitive. People have lots of very sensitive feelings. All of us have a guard we keep up to protect ourselves from those sensitive feelings, which is why we're doing this, because grief is so important and it's so hard to access. And everybody grieves in their own way on their own time. Some people's grief process on the surface can look like laughing it off and then they go home and cry. Some people cry to everyone and then they go home and they're largely okay. Some people grieve immediately when it happens. Some people don't grieve until like the final moment where there's no turning back. Like, they close the casket or they finally pour the dirt over the casket or they lower it into the ground and that's it. That's the moment you finally have a flip out. Some people don't grieve till years later. I mean, it can be 5 years later, 10 years later, 30 years later. You're suddenly crying and you realize you're crying because you're sad your grandfather died all those years ago and you never actually let yourself feel it. Okay. There's just so many, grief is all about honoring whatever it is you feel. So since it's about honoring whatever you feel, that process on a logical level is going to look very different for every person. Okay. And it can be very hard to not judge others for how they grieve. Okay, it can be very hard because your grief process is never going to look like someone else's, and your grief process today may look different than your grief process tomorrow, for example. Okay, so there's a whole lot of open-mindedness and a whole lot of emotional exploration that's just really important in this topic on grief. Okay. Welcome for anybody who just showed up. Welcome. Let me go ahead and send you this workbook that we're working through. We are on page 46, which is working through grief. I just read the whole worksheet. So if you'd like to go back and read it, feel free. But we're taking the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so to run through a loss history graph here, where we're outlining all the things that happen to us in life. The worksheet's pretty explanatory. So if you go down to 44, I guess, page 44, you can start reading it. And then when you get up to this spot here, you can catch up with me. Okay. And I'm just going to talk about my experience as I go through this. As I go through this lost history graph, just so anybody watching this knows they are not alone. Okay. So at some point, this book of you is going to be, I'll put some text boxes and things like this so you can just type into the thing itself. But until then, if you have a notebook, that kind of thing, you can write your things down in a notebook. I'm going to make a lost history graph here, starting with 0. Okay. And I'm just going to allow whatever comes up for me. There's no law of nature whatsoever about how you do this. That's the whole point of grief, right? The whole point of this is just to notice what is coming up for you. Okay. So like one thing that came up for me just now is, do I want to do this in a linear, 0, I'm 30, I'm 38. So do I want to do this from 0 to 38 straight through? You know what? I'm not quite feeling that today. The first time I did this, I did that. But today I'm not quite feeling that today. So I think what I might do today is I might just focus on significant events in my life that really, really stick out. And it might be kinder to focus on maybe more recent events and move backwards. So I'll start maybe more recent stuff. Well, let's see. First of all, 2 years ago, me and my family basically, to put this in short terms, we essentially disowned each other. We had a big fight with parents. And I'm getting a name change. I got a name change. Actually, that's 38. That was this year. Actually, in May of this year, I got my name legally changed to Donny. I got my last name legally removed. I am no longer Donovan Caesar. I am now Donny, and I have a PhD, so I am Dr. Donny. And I like not having a last name. It means it gives me a sense of freedom that I think is very important to me. But me and my parents had the falling out of a century 2 years ago, so I'm going to mark that down. And then, I think what I'm feeling really is, since I brought that up, I don't really want to go into all the details around it, but well, I discovered some sexual abuse in my family, and I decided I'm not okay with that. And I have a really hard time with people who choose to stay in denial about those things instead of actually dealing with it. And so I said, thank you so much for these years of education, and I'm going to go off and live my life. I wish you all the best. This isn't working for me anymore. Okay. So maybe a part of what comes up for me when I tell that story is, when I was 14, I'm remembering, how depressed and suicidal I was. I was a gay teenager, all alone in Lafayette, Louisiana, or I thought I was all alone. I'm remembering right now going to school. That was my first time leaving home. I can remember at 7. Ooh, I have a memory at 7 when my group of friends dumped me. I had a group of friends. We were playing together. And out of the blue, all these girls went, "We don't want to play with the boy." I remember that day. And it's so funny because the person who did that, she hit me up one day and she completely forgot. She had no memory of that whatsoever. What else do I remember? Significant events. College graduation at 21. I moved to Canada when I was 21. I don't need to name every single thing out loud that happened to me in life. Some of this shit kind of hurts. But yeah, some of this shit kind of hurts. And that's the point. And just notice what you do when the stuff starts to hurt. Do you barrel it over? Do you ignore it? Can we make space to sit with it today? That's the point. That's the point, my babies. That's the point. Can we make space to sit with it today? Okay. And just fill out your chart. You don't have to kill yourself. I recall when I first did this, I could think of 5 million things to write down. But today, I'm writing these things down. I'm only coming up with, 6 or 7. The beautiful thing about this exercise is that it will really stir you up. It will really stir you up. Oh, by the way, a wonderful person who's here, if at any point in time you would like to tell me how you're feeling, please do. This class is all about feelings, right? So if you have any feelings, if someone asked you, how do you feel today? If someone hasn't asked you, how do you feel today? Well, let me be that person, okay? So if you want to speak or type, tell me how you feel. If you have any words for that, let me know, okay? Just want to honor your emotional space. Okay, I'm writing down at 31, I got my PhD. What comes up for me about that, though, was the real hard work involved. I'm gonna write that down, too. Thank you, I'm listening. I don't know if listening is exactly a feeling, but there's a feeling connected to that listening. Let me know. What was that there? What'd you say? Oh, okay. Well, I can't. Oh, I can't. I didn't hear. Well, whatever you're feeling, I honor what you feel. I honor what you feel. I honor what you feel. You know, some of us, even we have, all sorts of reactions to even being asked that question. And, last week, maybe this was 2 weeks ago, I asked somebody how they were feeling and they said, I'm good, yeah. So I said, okay. Well, can you tell me, dig underneath good? What exactly is underneath that? How, do you have another word that would explain how you feel? And this person got super nervous. They got super nervous and then basically said that they were good and they were really nervous. And so I said, well, maybe you're just nervous. And they said they got really nervous, even more nervous, and said, yeah. So what I learned in that moment is having to open up about how you feel can make you nervous. For some people. So I got to think about that, because it's all about making space for people to be comfortable with their feelings. And getting nervous, that's not helping anybody now, is it? So I really just wanted to know how people were feeling, So that's something I got to think about, I'm all about trying to create as comfortable a space as possible for people to get their feelings together, And then people need to really be eased into it. Okay, so keep filling out this chart. The goal is to honor whatever you feel. I got to tell you, I'm pretty proud of myself because when I first did this, I had 2,000 things I wrote down, and I cried and cried and cried. Oh, something happened to your microphone. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. It was like going in and out and stuff. I can barely hear you. You're like at the lowest volume. Nope. Although I did hear you, but I can barely. It just sounds like you're really far away. Well, that's okay. You don't need to worry about your microphone. It's totally okay. There's no need to stress out about that. I just wanted to know how you were feeling anyway. So if I had a bunch of microphone problems, my answer would be annoyed. Zoom life altogether is kind of annoying. Yeah. And you know, that may be something worth grieving also, having to be online all the time. You know, I'm in school full time.
Hello?
Oh, hey, I can hear you now.
I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what happened to I think it was connected to my Bluetooth. And so, yeah, so I was having problems there.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I have all kinds of microphone problems too. So how are you feeling today?
How am I feeling? Actually, I'm feeling pretty good today. And I know that's kind of vague, but I'm happy. Um,
Okay.
I uh I'm trying to practice how to put my feelings into word. Well, exactly how I feel because I've been disconnected to my feelings for so long. And
Mm,
so I just yeah, and so I just I'm trying to be able to express myself, how I'm feeling authentically, not just say, oh, I'm feeling fine. But honestly, today I do feel great. You know, I do have emotions and things that I deal with too. I want to say thank you for this, um, meeting. I've always wanted to join. This is actually my first time, because I'm really interested in dealing with my feelings and emotions and things that have been buried for so long within me, that have caused me so much grief and
yeah.
turmoil and realities that I've created as a result from that. So yeah, so thank you.
Oh, oh. Well, thank you. Thank you for saying all that. Yes, yes, yes. So, you know, yeah, we often just say, oh, I'm okay, or we're getting through, or we keep it light. But yeah, if you sink into this just a little bit, you can feel there's so much going on inside of us underneath the surface.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, let's really honor that stuff inside. And that's so great that you came and you want to
Yeah.
work with feelings. That's really great.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like you said, we have to actually, yeah, we do have to work through that stuff. There's no way around it, obviously, because once your eyes are open to that, you can't really look back and or close your eyes to it or bury your head in the sand. You gotta deal. You have to address it. So it's
Yeah.
heavy stuff. It's really heavy duty stuff. Um,
Yes, it
really
is.
heavy duty stuff. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So definitely take this, you know, take this whole exercise on whatever level you can handle it. The idea is
Mhm.
these steps build us towards something we can stably manage. But if we try to, you know, run out the gate and try to get to the line, then often we fall flat on our face.
Yep.
Yeah. So definitely see this exercise as baby steps. There's no way you're going to conquer all your grief feelings in one day.
True.
Impossible. So
Yeah.
so let's just see what we can feel into today so we can build
Yeah.
on tomorrow.
Yes. Indeed.
Wonderful. Okay, well, let's keep writing. Keep writing.
Okay.
And just honor whatever it is you feel. Thank you so much for sharing those words. Mm. Yeah, just honor whatever you feel. There's by no means that you have to write out your whole grief timeline today or in this moment. You just got to write out just a few things, see what comes up, and wherever you feel like stopping, you can stop. And then we'll move on to part two. You know, you can just focus on what you remember. You don't even have to dig that far. Most of the time, when people are asked to make a timeline of their lives and the painful things that happen, there's usually a couple of things that pop up into memory real quick. So, you know, definitely write those down. The feelings exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. You might write this down and get through 5 things and realize, oh, this is too much for me, and just stop right there. You might write 5 recent things that happened. Oh, that's enough. That's enough for me. You might write every single thing you remember from 4 years old up till now, and just it just might flood out of you.
Mm.
It's okay. Yeah, the idea is just to make space for whatever comes. So
Okay.
yeah, you might feel the need to draw a little doodle next to this also to help you manage these feelings. A child memory, a child's memory never happens in an orderly set of, it was a dark, stormy night on the 15th of July. I had eaten my cocoa when I sat down and heard the lightning. A child's memory does not work this way. So accessing your memory may not work this way either, right? You might just remember bits and pieces of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a flash, a memory, just like an image.
Mm-hmm.
A feeling. You might just have a feeling or a bodily sensation.
Mm-hmm.
No story behind it at all, because you buried the story a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're feeling is okay. Just know that whatever you are feeling is okay.
Hmm. Wow. Abandonment just came up. Is that a feeling?
Well, just breathe into it. Just breathe into
Okay.
it. Whatever came up, just breathe into it. Each one of these little things, these memories are like little children, little babies we left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we gotta hold these little babies. Just know whatever you are feeling, it is okay.
Mm-hmm.
It may not make sense. It may not make sense for another 20 years even, and it's still okay. And you may remember discrete things like the day I went to school or the first day of school. Or you might remember, sort of like a recurring thing like my piano lessons or high school. Right, one big chunk and write high school. And it's also perfectly okay for your brain to block things out, not remember things, not
Mm-hmm.
there. Totally okay. I'm noticing most of my 20s are not here. Hmm. And sometimes you might look over this list and be amazed you lived through all this.
True.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm. Okay, so we'll give it about 1 more minute, and you feel free to continue at your pace. And about
Okay.
1 more minute, we'll go on to part 2.
Okay.
Oh, there is a part at the bottom here that says, if you would like to take 1 or 2 of those experiences and write them out in detail, just to get more of the feelings out, feel free. I think I might do that actually. Let me take one of these, write it out a little bit. When I was 24, 23, I moved back in with parents after grad school. Couldn't find a job. And my parents treated me like I was 16 all over again.
Mm.
We fought, but eventually we made peace and developed an adult relationship. Hmm. Needless to say, you could take this graph and you could take a nice day for yourself. Get yourself a whole bottle of wine and just let your feelings out.
Mm-hmm.
Start piecing out the stories, each story. OMG. Whew. Whew. That brought back some feelings.
Mm.
Man, living with my parents was rough. I love my family very much, but we're very different people.
It's interesting how families, the dynamics play into that, all that. You wonder how you ended up in, a certain family, but I guess there has to be a lesson in it, huh? Or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Has to be. God
Mm-hmm.
put them there for a reason.
Yeah. There's gotta be something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll never get there unless we do a lot of breathing.
True. A lot of breathing.
A lot of breathing. People,
Mm-hmm.
the people who frustrate us on planet Earth are sometimes our greatest teachers.
That's true. I've come to realize that too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just how long is it going to take for us to learn the lesson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Earth is an interesting teaching place, I guess. It's an interesting learning place. Um,
The school of life.
of life, exactly.
Yeah.
School of life.
School of family, school of life.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this type of work, if I may ask? Uh-huh.
I've been doing this now for social emotional work for 3 years.
Okay.
I'm originally a college professor. I am a college professor.
Okay.
I moved into this social emotional material about 3 years ago following my own family problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up putting together these worksheets and this workbook, and it's completely
Mm-hmm.
changed my life.
Wow, that's amazing.
Um, there is no other resource other than this book of you here that puts all this stuff together into one
Mm-hmm.
for people to read. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you would need a degree in psychology and trauma healing to know how to put all,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically what I did to heal myself through my own family experiences.
Wow. Yeah. Huh.
I'm just so, at the time it was like my
Mm-hmm.
life was falling apart, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, um, it was rough times. It was telling your
Mm-hmm.
family goodbye is it's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we all have boundaries, so we all have to make decisions about when we'll decide enough is enough.
Right.
If you found your family members engaging in illegal or immoral, you have to make your decisions, right? And
True.
some people make decisions to stick with their family and just keep silent and look the other way. Some,
Mm-hmm.
some of us would call the police.
True. Yeah. Absolutely.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I didn't
Mm.
call the police, but I decided I need to step away from this. That's what's
Yes.
healthy for me. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Breathe.
And so
Mhm.
I just think it's so important for us to get in touch with our own feelings because they were never going to heal me
True.
at all.
Yeah.
Zero.
Zero. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
So it has to be me. I must.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that must be the reason why that's the purpose for them, is to bring me to the place to teach me that lesson.
That's amazing. It's an amazing perspective.
And that's amazing. Yeah.
True. Yeah. I think we sometimes forget that, and we we almost fall into the victim role, but as long as we remember, we just have to remind ourselves that we're not victims.
And you might feel like a victim for a long time, and that's okay too. If that's what you need to grieve. That's what you
True.
There are people who
Mhm.
they stuck it feel like victims for 20, 30 years of their lives.
Mhm.
And I know how painful that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we all do. Yeah.
Yep.
So thank God we have another way. Just thank God.
That's true. We're so grateful for that. Yeah. So grateful.
Grateful for 2020, all the craziness going on, but you know what?
Yeah.
Still getting my healing on.
Yeah. 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 It's been an interesting year for sure. Yeah.
No kidding. No kidding.
No kidding. Yeah.
Okay, so let's
So,
do part two. Oh, you have more questions?
oh no. So I was just gonna ask you about your workbook.
Okay.
Where say if I was going to access it, or if I needed to see, where would I go?
Let me send you the link.
Okay.
Oh, 1 second.
Okay.
Let me send you this link. You are more than free to save, copy, share with other people.
Okay.
And at any point in time, if you get something out of this and would like to donate, there is a donate link there as well.
Okay.
Please share this with other people.
Yes.
And it's all designed to just read and do. So if you would like to sit with other people and work on it together with other people, you can do that also.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
More than welcome. Let's take a look at part 2 here. So now that we got our feelings all triggered up here. In part 2, here you get to dig deep and get honest about a particular moment you need to grieve. Okay, so first, for the experience you wrote in detail, illustrate every important moment in your relationship with that person, including anything after they died or the event that happened. Put positive things above the line and negative things below. Note all of your hopes, dreams, and expectations that went along with each event. Okay, so it says your relationship with a particular person, and it has another timeline and where you can write out all the positives and negatives. And then it says, oh, I see. Let's start there. So this is your choice. You can either focus on a particular person, a particular issue, but the goal is to narrow it down from your whole life to a particular thing. I'm gonna focus on losing my idols. So since RGB died, I'm gonna focus on that today. My relationship with my idols. Ideals? Idols, my idols. All my role models. Let's go with that. My role models. I'm gonna focus on that. You focus on whatever particular relationship you like to focus on. Mother, father, your relationship with yourself even, by all means.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Draw my timeline. Now, I've never done a worksheet like this before, my relationship with my idols. So I gotta think for a second here. How many idols I got? Okay, well, you know, when I was a 12-year teenager, I had singer-songwriters. They were big idols for me. Idol. You know that Bob Ross guy, the painter guy? I really liked him a lot. I watched him a lot.
No, I don't think I know him.
Well, he was a man with he had a show on the public channel in the 70s where
Oh.
he had a lot of paintings. He made paintings really quickly, like, 3-minute paintings where he'd paint a whole landscape in 3 minutes.
Oh, how cool.
And he had a big afro. He's a white guy with a big afro, so look. And he was a very peaceful person. He's just always paint a tree, just paint a little tree right here. Yeah, no big deal. Paint a tree. That was his thing. He was probably my one example of a male role model that was like sensitive. Oh, write that down. Yeah, one male role model that was sensitive. Let's see. Who else would be a role model for me? I had a teacher when I was 5 who was a real good role model too. In my whole life, I've only had like 3 Black teachers ever.
Oh, wow. Just 3.
3. And I'm
Wow.
from Louisiana. I'm from a place with lots of Black people.
I was gonna say.
That's racist ass America for you there.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, I never had a Black college professor.
Oh, wow.
I am rewriting the mold, right? I'm doing it. I'm doing it on my own.
Thinking about it, when I went to college, I only probably had like 1 or 2 Black professors too. Yeah, I mean, this is how it was. But now there's several of them.
Black teachers actually only make up 1% of the teaching body of America. It's sort of like the few and talented spread out in different places.
Oh, 1%. That's really low.
Just 1%. Yeah. So far to go. Yeah, I really got into philosophy when I was about 10 years old. I was really into philosophy. Okay. And then I can remember when I was 19, I got really into politics.
Mm-hmm.
I got all kinds of idols around, political idols. Learned about the civil rights movement, uh, the anti-colonialist movement in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And what I also remember is being in my 30s and doing enough research that I got all the details about various people, the not so good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What kind of research you said was it?
Oh, I've made studying race and things like my a life's work for me. I mean, I'm a sociologist, so
Uh-huh.
but the more you research these things, you find the ins and outs of people. You know, nobody's a perfect person. You know,
True.
you cheat on people.
Mm.
Martin Luther King said plenty of things that were sexist or homophobic. You know, in his day.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Interesting. Yeah, you're right. You know, nobody's really perfect. Like Gandhi, though they say that
oh
was
my God!
also,
Yes, that's
yeah, Gandhi was also not very, you know,
he was totally racist.
totally racist. Wow. So crazy how media can portray people, you know, to be in a certain light and, you know, and they're not really like hide, and they can hide the other side of them, which, you know, people are not even aware of. It's so crazy.
Totally. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And then you spend so much time believing
Mm-hmm.
the lie. You bought the lie.
True.
You know, maybe sometimes we need to believe the lie. The lie,
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes they fall apart anyway, right? So,
Is it easier to, yeah, like, is it probably easier to just wrap around, you know, because you're right, you know, how many lies have we been told? And trying to figure out or learning that it's a lie, that's also some form of, you know, you feel like you've been betrayed, or you feel like, what else have we been lied to, you know? I guess one thing is not to look at people as gods. I mean, in the sense that, I guess, not to look at them as, um, not to place them on a pedestal, maybe.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh, you're putting such good words to my feelings. Oh.
Glad we're able to share this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Betrayal. It's the betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
What comes up for me also is my resentment.
That's big. I have that too. That's for sure, you know. But if I may ask, so an example for me where my resentment mostly comes from is um, not being able to uh, feel safe in speaking out or speaking my truth, or kind of sparing other people's feelings, and just well, I guess it goes along with people pleasing. So after a while, you start resenting. You know, resentment develops. I think that's the one thing that I'm struggling with right now still. I just don't know where the roots came from or how it started when I was younger. But well, I guess for me, my parents, I saw how they dealt with conflict, and it wasn't very, you know, looking back now as an adult, it wasn't very effective. A lot of passive aggressive behavior, not having open conversations about conflicts or disagreements, just letting things like sort of, you know, sweeping things under the carpet. hoping that things will solve themselves. And so my conflicts, well, the way I deal with conflicts now, I feel like I'm really struggling, and as an adult, I didn't even realize that until I noticed this pattern of how I deal with conflict, and it's a very painful process for me. So yeah, that's probably where my resentment would be coming from.
Mm. Well, that is very insightful. How many you connected it to your whole childhood history, and
Mm-hmm.
um, and recognize it as a pattern. Um, and
Yes.
sounds like you. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you are angry at yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's okay to feel that anger.
Yeah.
It's okay to be okay with that anger, to see what's underneath that anger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, often when childhood things happen, the way we deal with them vary our feelings. Because as kids, we couldn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So our childhood coping mechanisms, our survival coping mechanisms, got us through childhood, but then we grow up and move on and then
Mm-hmm.
just bury it all because we can do things differently now as an adult.
True.
Going back and going back and feeling through the things that made you feel the need to not speak your truth.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps the hurt, pain, fear, and shame you were taught as a
Mm-hmm.
kid.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. All of that
Right.
is what's needed here. It's what's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But your little kid self kept quiet because your kid self wanted to be safe. Safety was so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Mm.
it's possible that today the adult
Mm-hmm.
letting out that anger might be what you need to do to feel safe.
Yeah.
Um,
How do you let out such anger and resentment from within? How do you let go?
mm, well, that's great. Well, we're doing this right. We're doing it right here. We're doing it right here.
Right.
There's a whole
By
series of
spilling it
exercises.
out.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's a whole series of exercises here, and there's actually there's a worksheet here on how to let go specifically.
Yes.
You can read that as well. But the idea
Okay.
here is if you make space to actually validate what you really feel
Mm-hmm.
instead of judge it, you will almost instantaneously start feeling better.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So what I noticed you said was you
Mm-hmm.
feel the struggle inside. It's a big conflict. It's really a problem for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So um, what's one good thing about the fact that it's a big problem?
Hmm. Well, I guess that I'm aware of it now. I think that's as opposed of it being hidden and not understanding, but just the fact that I'm aware now, I'm actually aware, it's, I know it's there. So that's a good thing. That's one thing I can say I'm grateful for, is that I'm aware that it's there.
Good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Can't grow otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay, then the other part is just to make space to feel.
Yeah.
That little kid who went through those things and acts that way, that little kid is still there inside of you.
True.
100%. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that little kid can't do better unless you like sit with them,
Mm-hmm.
nurture them, really listen.
Mm-hmm.
That little kid had to hide their truth all the time. So there's a chance that that little kid might still be really good at hiding their truth from you.
Hmm.
So we
They
gotta
have to feel safe. I feel like that kid has to feel safe.
Yes, 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 yes.
That's it, huh? Have to feel safe for them, for that little kid in me to open up.
That's right. That's
Wow, that's amazing.
that is so right.
Oh,
The more you can let your little kid inner self feel safe, the more you're gonna,
yeah.
yeah, the more you'll trust you.
Hmm.
The more you'll trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And I can toss this on here as well, but I have often found, my
Mm-hmm.
sister, having to honor our truth very often means having to keep it real with other people and say the things that needs to get said, even if they don't want to hear it.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely true. There's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around it at
As
all.
a kid, you might have tried to get around it by hiding,
Yes.
some form of hiding. As an adult, there is no way around it.
Yeah.
As an adult, the only way around it is you start drinking.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's not even that would be a big problem. Bigger problem.
Yeah, that would be good.
Be a bigger problem.
Or I should say, the way we deal with the unhealthy way we deal with it as adults is we drink, or we become workaholics who never deal with
Mm-hmm.
things, or we get in healthy relationships so we constantly focus on someone else but never look at ourselves.
True. That's my story. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, right? Like we just jump from one relationship to the next thinking that we can find what we need to find it. We actually have to look within ourselves. Yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Because that silence can lead us to look for someone to protect us,
Mm-hmm.
someone who feel safe. And the only thing is,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing is, reaching out like that is reaching out with fear.
Yes.
So it just brings more fear into your life.
And it's never a guarantee that that person they obviously will not fulfill that. It's a work that you actually need to do.
For yourself.
Yep,
No one else can do it. They have,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this was so great. So many of the things you said relate to me so much.
Yeah.
I realized as you were talking that
Uh-huh.
our parents are really our role models as kids.
They are. Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
That
And
that little voice that always is in the background, even as an adult,
yes,
they'll always be talking. Oh
yes,
my gosh, that is so crazy how true that is, right? Ah,
yeah, yeah. And it becomes so normal, you may not even see it at first. But yeah, they're
yeah.
the biggest role models.
They are our biggest role models. Um, they really are. Wow, so crazy. I think that, like you said, I'm just so grateful that we have these tools because they too are probably they were not aware of their own wounds. They're not aware of their own flaws at that time, and so they just did the best they could to raise us the way they did. They probably were you know, um, adopted those ways of raising us from their own parents, and the parents did the same thing from their own parents, and they're just never aware. And now here we are with all this, like fully aware, that some of these patterns or ways that they raised us were not healthy, and they contributed a lot to some of the things that issues that we have to deal with in our day-to-day lives. You know, um, Being aware is very important, I feel. I feel like, being aware is so important. Being conscious and just looking within. I think that's really an important journey, if anything, because we tend to externalize everything. We tend to look at the external environment, and really we're supposed to be looking internally, to just see what's going on within us, to heal us,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
our parents are doing the best that they could. So we're
They
doing
had their own one. Yeah, we really are.
really.
I'm telling you, brother, we really, really are. And sometimes we're so hard on ourselves. I know I'm hard on myself. No matter how many books I read, no matter how much inner work I try to do, I always find a way of like trying to say, well, you gotta try harder. You gotta do this, and you gotta push yourself, and you gotta do this and that, and this and that. There's that voice. We never sit down to really remember, we really do try our best with what we have,
Oh, oh yeah.
what we have.
Well, I'm the same way. I'm constantly pushing myself,
Ah,
and not giving myself the compassion I could give myself instead.
yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. I just realized that. I never even, didn't realize how hard I've been on myself. Really been hard on myself. Wow.
I've been
Mm,
feeling that a lot this year with everything else going on.
yeah. Has
Like
it been?
that.
It seems to be this year has really been a year where a lot has been unearthed, a
Yeah.
lot of shaking, and so a lot has been shaken, and a lot of things have come up. This me too. I've never felt such intense emotions. Things have really come up for me this year that I never have felt before. And all I could say was, well, I guess it's time to deal with these things. They can no longer be buried. They can no longer be hide in the hiding.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming,
Oh
It
yeah.
can be overwhelming.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I mean, just nasty things. I can't,
Uh-huh.
really deep
Yep.
things. Oh my goodness.
All of it. All of it. Yeah.
Wow. Oh man. Oh,
You know. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, just always remember, love is letting go.
Love is letting go. That's true. Let go and let God. And that's just my mantra every day. When I feel so overwhelmed and I can't even think straight, I just let go and let God. You know,
Yes. 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 If it's coming up, it's coming up because God brought it up for you to resolve it.
it's true. Yeah. And that's love.
Yes.
That has to be love. It has to be the most beautiful love, most amazing love. It's amazing. We're so loved. We are so loved. We're absolutely loved.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I appreciate this.
I appreciate this.
Okay, so let's do part four because part
All
four is
right.
so number four is writing a grief recovery completion letter.
Hmm.
So this letter is a short response to what you have been feeling so that you can complete the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a farewell letter or even a forgiveness letter for the other person. It is more of an apology letter for you to complete the sense of closure you need so you can heal.
Wow.
Yeah, this is going to be something.
Mm.
It's going to be powerful. It could be written from you to another person or from
Mm-hmm.
another person to you. Writing the apology of the people who harmed you can be very liberating.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm.
just focus on your feelings and your heart, even if things seem silly or awkward in your mind.
Mm.
Okay, so one example here is, dear person's name and
Mm-hmm.
your relationship. I've been reviewing our relationship and I've discovered some things I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize for, I forgive you for, I forgive me for, I want you to know, any statements like that. And then you say, I love you, I have to go. I'm ready to let go of this hurt and goodbye.
Wow. This is powerful stuff.
Yeah. Let's see if I can give you, I have an apology letter I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote an apology letter from my abuser to me.
Mm.
Show you what that sounded.
What's that?
I just want to just read this example to you,
Yes. Yes.
so you know. So this would be, dear Dr. Donny,
Mm-hmm.
as your abuser, I've been reviewing the history I have with you, and I have some things I want to say.
Mm.
Please forgive us for what we did to you. We are so sorry. I had power and I knew I could use it against you and get away with it. And I can still see that it hurts you now. Please forgive us for the worst that we did to you. We did it so we could think we were better than you. But now we are stuck repressing you so we can feel normal. Worse, repressing you, hurting you, just means we are hurting ourselves. Please forgive us for every time you said you needed help, but we ignored you, or even blamed you for the repercussions of what we did to you. Taking responsibility for our actions would mean looking at my thoughts and actions, and that simply hurt too much. Having to even notice my insecurities hurt too much. Please forgive me for the harm I did to you for that. Forgive us for our ignorances, for never bothering to dig deep, for making it about you when our world can only be about ourselves. Forgive us for the disrespect we use to hide our own guilt and shame. The times we wanted to kill you, not acknowledging our own soul murder from long ago. Forgive us for we may never heal. Brave people heal. They open their hearts, tell the whole truth, return to their innocence. The power of an abuser ensures that we will talk about bravery, but never actually do any of those things. Definitely not for you. I know that sometimes you still think that things would have been fine if we never would have done what we did to you. We are here to show you that God loves everyone. So you don't have to. Things would not have been fine. Or actually, things are just fine. You stood up for yourself. You realized you deserved better. You left. Forgive yourself for letting me occupy space in your beautiful life. May the happiness in your smile and the joy you build in your soul be all the things we may never feel. Letting your healing serve as an example. Let your healing serve as an example the same way our actions serve as ours.
That is powerful.
That's a
Oh
that's a
my,
really powerful letter. And I
so powerful.
yeah, yeah. And so that's I sat down with a few days and I wrote that out for every abuser who ever harmed me ever.
Mm-hmm.
But that was after writing 20 of these letters, and I got a good idea how this works. The
Mm-hmm.
basic thing is you're just writing you're feeling. You're writing in that particular example, I'm writing them from their perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
I could have said, as your mother, I've been reviewing this relationship and I want to tell you I'm sorry for all those times I made you feel small. Please
Mm-hmm.
forgive me for all the times you wanted to say how you felt, but you were afraid.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know that I did those things to you because I was so traumatized myself. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
it.
Damn, wow.
I
That's
want
powerful.
I want you to know that I know you beat yourself up today, and I know I helped you do that. And for that, I am sorry.
Mm.
Hmm. I'm sorry that today you feel like you can't be open and honest about your feelings and that you sweep things under the rug. I taught you how to do that. Please forgive me. Thank you for your awareness. Your awareness is bringing you to a place of healing that I could not achieve. And I'm thankful for that.
Hmm.
I'm thankful you got there because I couldn't.
Uh-huh, that's gonna make me cry. Oh my gosh. Ah,
Oh, yeah.
oh my goodness. That is so powerful. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Thank you for believing in us. And I want you to know that I am not God. We couldn't be God. At some point, you would have to see our limitations and figure it out on your own.
Mm.
I want you to know that I recognize your inner voice is still filled with all the things I said to you.
Mm.
If any of those things are not loving today, I am sorry. Please forgive me. It was never my intention to make you feel hurt. I was doing what I thought was best.
Mm. Mm.
Mm.
Wow.
You may still have all these feelings, and we want you to know that we want you to heal. It is time to let go of all this hurt, pain, and fear so you can be the role model for someone else.
Mm.
It's time to let go of all this hurt so we can all grow.
Yes, indeed.
We love you. Goodbye. Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Oh, wow. Thank you
Oh,
so much for sharing that. I've I've never heard anything like that. Where you know, it's just so amazingly relieving. It's like it's such a relief, such a huge relief. Just hearing that helps me let go and let go of a lot of those heart and whatever feelings because wow, that's amazing. Oh,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the best thing is, the people who actually did this to us may never say these things. But all
that's true.
very true. But
That's true.
we have the ability to say them to ourselves in an instant,
Yes.
willing to reach
Yeah.
in.
Yes. 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 Because when we heal those things, I think that's the most important thing. I was gonna ask you something. Have you heard of Ho'oponopono.
Yes, that's the Hawaiian belief in doing good.
Yes, the I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you.
Ah, yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so empowering. You know, it's true. We may never hear those words from abusers or people who wronged us. However, it just relieves us of those heavy energy, that burden that we carry around all over, those heavy emotions. It gives us relief. It really, really does. It frees us from that energetic bond or whatever it is that we've created with the other person, and it just releases us on a very I'm sure on a very major scale.
Hmm.
I think, honestly, this work is about us. It really, it's about us. It's not about the other person. It really is about us. It really is.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
is.
And
It
if you spend your time wanting them to change or heal, you just can't control any of that. So it just makes you
You just cannot.
no, no.
What a beautiful thing to realize. We can never control another person or what their reaction is. We can only, realize how we react and what we choose. Um, you know, what
Mm,
we choose to do. And then that frees us, right? It frees us.
yeah.
It absolutely frees us.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, right on. Well, I can forgive all my role models. They did the best they could.
Absolutely. They did. They, wow. They did what they could do, even
Yeah.
with their limited understanding, not working on themselves or their awareness. They never had the opportunity to do that. Um,
This
yeah,
also helped me to see how I can be my own role model too.
yeah, yeah. Isn't that interesting? Now we can choose, right? Not to follow in their footsteps, and
Oh, I get to choose every day to be with my feelings.
we do. We do, absolutely. We get to choose.
Get to choose to honor your truth, to
Yep.
speak it,
Yeah.
to support it, to support,
Yes.
validate and support yourself every day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hmm. Well, this was wonderful.
Oh, of course.
Thank you so much for taking this time to come and share your feelings and grieve with me.
Dr. Donny, thank you so much. This has been very refreshing, very, very refreshing. Absolutely beautiful. I'm so grateful that souls like you exist. Just to really, this is an amazing sacred work. Um, if everybody was able to just take responsibility of their own feelings, emotions, whatever that's happening in their lives, then a lot of these issues that we have interpersonally with relationships, I'm sure they would definitely resolve in a way. But what a beautiful thing. We're so grateful to have this knowledge and awareness. We can never take it for granted. This is an amazing thing that our souls chose to learn. And yeah, so we're grateful. We're thankful for what we've gone through in the past, no matter what it is. We are
Yeah.
so grateful because now we can choose to heal and help other people in this journey. We can definitely um, we're the wounded healers. Well, I guess that's what we could say.
Yeah.
And everybody has a potential to,
How else
heal
could you heal someone?
themselves. Yeah,
Yeah, how else could you heal someone if you hadn't been through it yourself?
absolutely. The wounded healer is what it is. The hero. One thing that you said in that when you were speaking a while ago was, or to that, well, what the abusers were saying was, they were able to just, I guess, the brave person is the one who actually is able to, well, I'm just paraphrasing, but the brave person is the one who is able to speak and actually show their true selves, like whatever it is, whether it's their shadow or whatever it is, just showing their true selves, being able to show that. But then, people who are, well, if the other thing is not just speaking those words and just being aware and not acting on them, that is, you can have this knowledge, you can have all this, but then if you do not put the work in, it's futile. It's absolutely futile. It'll just be all talk and no action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody needs bullshit. Nobody needs bullshit.
True.
We've all been through enough.
We have been. All have been through enough. That's true.
So I want to say, so this is I offer a class every week. Please feel free to come next week and
of course
another week and
yes.
and share this with friends and family and just whatever you can do to offer of yourself to make the world a better place and use this material. I say go for it because it is so important, so needed.
Yes, much needed. Much needed. Thank you, Dr. Donny.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Wonderful weekend.
Yes.
Like I always say, it's your job to take care of your emotional mental health.
Yep.
No one else is gonna do it for you.
Nobody.
Donald Trump can't do it for you.
Oh, not even him. Not him.
There's a whole worksheet on grieving him that we could easily.
My. Well, hopefully he can work on his own emotions and feelings.
Good luck to him. Good luck to him. Wherever.
Dr. Donny, thank you so much. Well, you have a good evening, okay?
You too.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, wonderful people. So that's the power of grieving. That's the power of grieving. That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. Okay, that's the power of grieving. So good luck with your grieving. Even writing the things I just wrote, that was the first time I didn't actually sit down and write the letter out by hand. I just grabbed the statements and my timeline and said some things from my heart. So I'm trying to do this in the real time kind of way. So, oh, how wonderful. Oh, my heart is just like opening. There's a lot about our idols we have to let go. That's not real. Everybody's a person. Ruth is just a person. Ruth is just a person who was determined, a person who followed her passions, a person who lived their truth. May I follow in those footsteps. Okay. All right. Well, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, wherever you are, thank you so much. And Noam Chomsky, wherever you are, still alive, thank you so much. And every other idol I ever had, thank you so much. And mom and dad too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And me, that old me, or the future me, that idol me, that ideal me I held on to. Thank you as well. It's all that brought me to here. Okay. Good night, everyone.